Yo, what's up, everybody? And today we're going to go live in effect in this series. This is Shark Tooth mode. All right. Some of my older caps. All right. We are in cap mode time. We're going live. This is a Q&A session. You know, we got a couple of topics that we'll hit on here. It won't be too long of a show. Just something to kick back and discuss here on this Friday night of November 14th, 2025. Fucking whole ass bitches of the motherfucker. All right. So let's get into it, man. Let's get into the night of nights, the time of our life. It is Cowboys football, 3-5-1, losing record. Been pretty crappy season, man. So it's time to put this officially out there as far as like what could our record be post bye week. All right, we got the Raiders coming up next, and then after that, it's a who's who of playoff contender type of teams, and this team right now is not in any kind of contention. I do like the moves that they made. Trades. I think Quinn Williams is going to be a steal for us. You know, even more if they do some trades for the draft. You know, they might come out of this smelling like roses. All right, but as it is right now, the moves I think they'll help. Eberflus, like I've talked about, you know, on the first report, he's on an audition phase of his career. If you still do real crappy after making these trades, he's got to go, right? Guys, let me know what you think about Eberflus. Is he, in your mind, auditioning for the defensive coordinator position here for the Cowboys for the remainder of the season, or do you think the Cowboys are going to bring him back regardless? Let me know in the comments. Let me know in the chat box what you guys are thinking is going to happen there with Eberflus. Right? So the reason why Joe Milton is in discussion here is that you know, at what point do you think that we'll see him? You know what I mean? Like, will it be never? Will it be at the end of the season? I think it will be this season. All right, let's analyze this. Okay, so let's pull up the schedule. Let's just take a look here. I love looking at the schedule here. It just it gives us a good look at things to come. All right, which may be good, may be bad, it may be a real life nightmare. You know, if you look at the schedule. So let me go ahead and share my screen here, and we'll take a look at the schedule together, and we'll try to come up with the final season record, and we'll see where we're at on that. Okay, we'll also take a look at tankathon.com to see where we're currently sitting as far as like the draft positioning for 2026. All right, so let me go ahead and share my screen here, man. Let me see what we got here. Let's go ahead and share the. Yeah, let's share the screen here. We're gonna go here and share this there, which is the schedule, right? So Commanders, Broncos, total destruction, 44-24. Cardinals. This was pretty lopsided despite the score, 27-17. A lot of that was at the end of the game. So that was a butt whipping there. They sent us on our bye week. And now you get on the road, Vegas, Monday Night Football. Okay, so Cowboys primetime game, Monday Night Football. There, let's see how these guys do here on the road at Las Vegas. This one here, it should be a win. Las Vegas is in complete shambles right now. They're a mess. You know, Chip Kelly, Pete Carroll, doesn't look like they're getting along there. There's probably gonna be some changes there. Who knows? Maybe Carroll might be a one and done. I don't know. But Kelly's probably gonna be out regardless. The main weapon here, Brock Bowers, the tight end. the coming out party. It's going to be for all the players across the board here. The run defense, I do fully expect this to be improved with Quentin Williams. There will be no snap count limitations for him because, this isn't like a rookie or somebody coming off of injury. Quentin Williams is going to get the full snap count. He was even quoted as saying that he already learned the defense. You know what I mean? In a span of a week or so, a couple of days. So that just kind of shows you how dumbed down, how simplified Eberflus has tried to make this defense, but nobody has bought into it. I think that's the key here. That nobody has bought into this simplified defense. You know what I mean? And all these changes that have happened. So, but I do think that the run defense, is particularly in the middle, should be improved. So if they're going to gain any yardage, it'll have to be on some tosses, on some, off the left guard, right guard type of things. Maybe some screens and this kind of thing. With Genti can do all of that. Uh, he's a well-rounded back. You know what I mean? And he could have a breakout game here, but hopefully not. But let's get to the win here. Cowboys, I'm going to say that they do win this game here. My confidence level on it is 50-50, though. I wouldn't be surprised if they choke it up and lose to Geno Smith or whoever the hell the quarterback's going to be. 50-50 chance there. But I'm going to give the Cowboys a win here, okay? So that would put us at 4-5-1. Eagles, I don't see us beating them. I don't see us beating the Chiefs. Don't see us beating the Lions. I don't see us beating the Vikings. Chargers, we're not going to beat them. Commanders, I do think that we will win here, and I think with the Giants, you could win there. Now, if we're going to be 4-5 after that Raiders game, right? I think you go 4-5, and you're going to lose. You're going to lose to, I'm going to say the Eagles. That's going to be 4-6. Chiefs 4-7. Lions 4-8. Vikings 4-9. Chargers 4-10. Okay, so if you're sitting at 4-10, and this is where the Joe Milton conversation comes into play, do you want to get a look at him at the end of the season? Because it's over. You're not going to be in the playoff hunt. You're not going to be in the wild card hunt, and nothing like this. You know what I mean? If it were me, and I kind of already know what I have in Joe Milton, to be quite honest, but let's just go ahead and close out the season with these two, the Commanders and Giants. You know what I mean? You would be sitting at 4-10, like I said, on the road with the Commanders. Let's get a look at Joe Milton in regular season action. Go ahead and protect Dak Prescott and obviously run that back in 2026 with the elder statesman and Dak Prescott in 2026. All right. Time is undefeated. All right. And he's on the wrong side of it. So you got to get a look at it. For me, Joe Milton doesn't look like he's going to be the guy that you're going to pass the torch to. But this front office, they need confirmation. These guys don't see what we see. This front office is very incompetent. So they need to get another look here. These guys are really stupid, dude. So McClay and McBus they trust. Steven and Jerry, go ahead and mothball Dak these last two games. Let him rest up, get ready, and take a look at Joe Milton here at Washington. You know what I mean? And then at the Giants. These two last games are going to be meaningless for the Cowboys at that point. If I predict what I think is going to happen, you know what I mean? So if you're sitting there 4-10, Joe Milton, get a look at him with your weapons, with your O-line. See what you can do on the road as well. That'll be a good test for him on the road at Washington and at the Giants to close it out, guys. So that's what I want to see. That's what I want to see. If the Cowboys somehow turn this thing around, which I highly doubt. Even with an improved defense, if anything, this is just a murderers row, right? Like, I mean, these are heavy hitters. These are heavy hitters that they're going to play sharp football. These teams are also in the hunt for their own positioning, their own clinching of a division, of a wild card. The Lions, Vikings, they're in the same tough division. They're going to be vying for playoff positioning. The Chargers as well. So they're going to come out here and want to whack you. They're going to come out and want to beat the crap out of you and clinch their destination. They want to punch their tickets to the playoffs. So they're going to be playing sharp football. Cowboys are sloppy. And it's just like kind of what Jimmy Johnson used to say is, he used to love to play the Bills because they were a sloppy team. You know what I mean? They made mistakes. I remember hearing Jimmy Johnson say this a lot in some interviews when talking about playing the Bills. Yeah, they're a good team, but they're sloppy. That's where the Cowboys are at right now. They're a sloppy team. Too many pre-snap penalties. You know what I mean? They're soft physically. Practicing in that 70-degree weather is not helping this team. You know what I mean? They need to get back. They need to come back to Texas and toughen up, dude. But Jerry has made a deal there with Oxnard. That's not going to happen. It's what needs to happen, but it won't happen, right? So that's what I would do, man. And so Joe Milton, you see him at the end of the season, they get confirmation. I already know the confirmation here. Joe Milton, I don't even know if he was better than Trey Lance. You know what I mean? So it was kind of an exciting trade at the time, but then you see what you see, the decision making, all his claim to fame was the big arm. Okay. But the intermediate passing game isn't there for him. The accuracy in the intermediate game is not there either. So lock this thing up. Let's take a look now at tankathon.com, and we can get a better look at where we sit right now. Okay. So let's take a look at this, man. Let me pull this up real quick, guys. Give me 1 second while we pull up the draft order. Tankathon.com is my preferred website. Let's pull this up, guys. All right. So here we are. Tankathon.com, NFL. So here we are today, right? November 14th. With the 3-5-1 record, we're drafting 12 right now. If the season ended today, we're in the top 15. We're drafting 12. How is our Packers pick looking? All right. They're 5-3-1. They're still in the playoff hunt. 5-3-1. They have the 21st pick. All right. We need them to start losing some games. But the Cowboys, if they end up being, like I said, I think they'll beat the Raiders. But there's that big stretch that we just talked about, and then you get to Washington and the Giants to end the season. Let's say you're sitting there 4-10, and these other teams, maybe they win a couple of games. You might sneak into. You should be able to sneak into the top 10 if you're there at 4-10, and Joe Milton loses those last two games. You end up finishing the season 4-13 or some crap like that. At 4-13, you should be drafting the top 10. Assuming some of these other teams start winning a couple of games, maybe they steal a couple of games, which that should happen. I think Cincinnati, Atlanta, Arizona, they should start stealing some games here, and Cowboys moving to the top 10. So I don't see us getting any higher than that. Even if you lose all of your games, you would have three wins. That might put you in, maybe between the top 5 and top 8 picks. So, you know, there's a lot of football to be had, but Cowboys just got too far behind the eight ball defensively, man, and it's they're trying to recover. They're trying to recover. They're trying to look like they're competitive. You know what I mean? I'm hoping that they can get it together. Emmitt Smith actually mentioned, bringing back Zimmer, that he would be a better defensive coordinator. The thing about it, I think Zimmer was out once they announced that Schottenheimer was going to be the coach here. I think he said he didn't want to be a part of it. So that's a shame, man, because I think Zimmer would have been in year two, would have would have done well here. Then you give him Quentin Williams. But Matt Eberflus, his ceiling, like I said, is a linebacker coach, nothing more than that. You know, he's kind of lucked himself into a head coach position, failed. DC coordinator, not good. So I'm looking forward, man. I'm looking forward. See what the draft can give you. You can, if you want, take a look at a 3-4 scheme. I think is on the table. It has to be on the table. You got a lot of linebackers here, and there's some good linebackers in this upcoming draft class that can play. Some of the positions opposite of Donovan Ezaraku, where I think he would absolutely flourish in a 3-4 outside linebacker. All right, standing up, obviously. Get a good DC in here. Fix the defense. Offense should be fine. You'll be back in the playoffs in 2026. Now, the key obviously here is if they do decide to upgrade and throw these picks at defense, we've looked at Will McClay's record. It's not very good. It's actually pretty damn scary. High miss rate defensively. So, Cowboys, I feel like they need to shake up the evaluations. Their regional scouts, local, whatever they got to do. Um, McClay, I mean, something's got. They have to change something there with the evaluation of your defensive players. Offensively, they tend to do better there. You know what I mean? So defensively, though, and if you missed that video, go back and check. It's about two videos back. We cover the Will McClay bus factory that is okay. So yeah, man. When do you think Joe Milton will see the field this year? And I'm not even talking about him replacing Dak Prescott. In this next game or the game after the Raiders. I'm talking about the season's over. Go ahead and protect Dak Prescott for 2026 and get a look at Joe Milton. For me, I think it's going to be that Washington game, that Giants game. Get him some snaps in the regular season in a hostile environment and see how he performs. And let this front office get confirmation on what a lot of us already know. Okay. So and then let that draft pick bloom into a top 10, top 8 pick. All right. Um, let's see what we got here in the chat box. Let's see if we got any questions, man. Anybody got questions? Let me know. We'll talk about it here. We'll talk about it. McBus, I trust. Yeah, that's what he's called. That's what he is, especially defensively. He just doesn't have it. Now here we go. We got a question here. Do you think the Packers first rounder will turn into a top 10 pick? That would be, I mean, a top 10 pick, probably not, because they already have 5 wins right now, right? So even if the Packers were to lose the rest of their games with, Jordan Love getting injured or some kind of cataclysmic, implosion, that Packers pick with 5 wins under their belt, you probably be looking at a top 15 pick probably, but I definitely don't see that happening. I think that they'll keep winning, and I do think the Packers will ultimately make the playoffs. So that that pick from the Packers that we got for Micah, it's probably going to be in the 20s, 24, so somewhere in that range, 26. So yeah, I definitely don't see that happening. That would be nice. It would be really nice, but I don't see that happening. Let's see should we have any other questions in the chat box? Let me know, guys, and I'll post it up here and we will talk about it. Mike Balerna, thank you for the super chat, brother. Let's see what we got here, Mike. What positions do you think we should draft? Okay. Positions of need, right? You need an edge rusher. You need a premium edge rusher right now. I think you're good here with your defensive tackles with Clark and Quinnen. There's been some discussion as far as like there's no guaranteed money for Frank, for Clark, right? And maybe he's a cut candidate. I mean, that would be a stupid move by the Cowboys. Just keep him here and let him and Quinnen do their work. So I get an edge rusher. I also look at a linebacker. You know what I mean? The linebackers are not good here. They brought in a lot of guys. They've missed on some picks here. So those would be high. Safety is also a high need. This team is stubborn though. They don't want to take one in the first round. They tend, on average, they look at safeties on day 3, which is stupid. They need to go premium there. But the thing is, we don't have a second round pick and we don't have a third round pick, via some of these trades. So, do you bite the bullet and get your safety in the first round with one of those first rounders? Do you trade out that second first rounder and pick up some second and third round picks, maybe a future first, and then you have 3 first in 2026? That could be on the table. You know what I mean? But those are my top needs, man, and they all fall on defense. Like I said, half the defense needs to be purged out. It's just very, very, very bad production there across the board. So defensive back, another cornerback, a safety, a linebacker, and an edge rusher. You know what I mean? Defensive tackle depth probably later on in the draft. But those would be my top picks there. Mike Blern, appreciate that, bro. Anybody else got questions here? Let's see what we got here. Here's another one from. Do you think Shotty will get fired if we only win 2 more games? So if you're right now 3-5-1, you win 2 more games, that puts you at 5 and what would you be at? 5-12. So 5-12. I think that they will give him another season. You know what I mean? I don't think that they're going to do a one and done here with him. But you just never know with this team. But I don't think Jerry would abandon ship this quick. I think they're going to give him the benefit of the doubt of Matt Eberflus being not capable of doing the job, man. You know what I mean? The Matt Eberflus experiment was a complete disaster. I was on record. My videos, I was not on board. Other guys, I don't know what they saw. I think they were faking it. They were excited. I didn't understand it. You know what I mean? He wasn't good. You know what I mean? So I think they keep him. You know what I mean? I think that they're going to give him the benefit of the doubt that, this defensive coordinator, they handpicked, they forced Eberflus. This was not a Schottenheimer pick, despite what some other people are trying to paint as a picture. There's no relation with Schottenheimer and Eberflus. Eberflus wanted to go another route. I'm almost certain he wanted to go another route here, and they'll probably give him that opportunity in 2026 unless Eberflus 360s this defense and turns it into a top tier defense at the last second. Outside of that, Eberflus has to go, man. Thank you for the question. Keep them coming, guys. We'll stay on here we'll cut off here in about 6 minutes, 5 minutes or so. So let's see what else we got here. What are the questions we have here? With the next group of first rounders we have, would you get a quarterback? Okay, this is a good question here. With the next group of first rounders, so I would not get a quarterback at the end of the first round. I don't think this is like last season where you had um, some quarterbacks go a little bit later in the first round, like Jackson, like Dart, right? I think that was a good pick. Um, we know St. Louis wanted Dart, but the Giants they moved back in and stole that pick from the Rams. Thank God. You know what I mean? Um, so the Rams, they're probably still looking for quarterback. Right? They didn't get theirs. I don't know. I think they kind of like Bennett, but I think they're still ultimately in the they're looking at the succession plan like a smart team should, right? They're looking at Matthew Stafford is long in the tooth in his 30s, like 37, 38, right? Dak Prescott's he's entering that long in the tooth earmark for us. And as far as like the average age of a quarterback, so the smart thing is to do get somebody maybe shadow Dak Prescott for a year or two, and then that's where you can probably cut bait with Dak. And you're gonna have to eat money at some point with Dak's contract. But this is a young man's league. All these teams that have moved on, they get younger. And some of them they fail, but they move on and they draft again. You know what I mean? The Cowboys have to learn to swing the bat there and the damn quarterback, and not luck into the damn quarterback. They got to stop doing this lucking into the quarterback. Like we got Romo, that was Sean Payton, man, and Sean Payton is a good quarterback evaluator when it comes to a starting caliber type of pedigree. Now, do we have a quarterback evaluator on the staff here? I don't think we do, man. Because look what happened with Lance, and look what happened with Milton. So that's the scary part here, and that's where we get stuck. And that's where this front office gets stuck because they're like they're scared. They don't know if we're gonna make the wrong choice. Maybe they will, but try again. I mean, look at the Eagles. They had Wentz. He got beat up, turned around that turnstile, and they got Hurts. Back in contention. You have to you have to stay in contention at the most important position on the team. Here we go, Mike Balerna. Thank you for the super chat. Should we franchise tag George Pickens or extend him? If you extend him, theoretically, if you extend him, you lower the cap number, and they're able to kick that number down and spread it out. Right? That's what they do. So that would be the ideal thing to do with George Pickens would be to extend him at the end of the season. But the Cowboys are going to do what they do. They're going to drag it on. They're going to drag it out. They're going to throw some dirt on him using the media. You know what I mean? They have their guys. They have their people that drop these little tidbits of chum in the water to make the player look negative. You know what I mean? They do it every single contract. I'm surprised they didn't do it with Tyler Smith. You know what I mean? I'm surprised they didn't do it with who the hell else did they extend? Deron Bland. But with Pickens, they're gonna do that. They're gonna use the media to do their bidding. All right. So, but either way, they have to franchise tag him at the minimum, in my opinion, because you gave up a third round pick for him. If you let this dude walk, That third round rental is stupid, dude. That is just incompetence to the 500th level. All right. You have to get something out of that third round pick that you gave up. So at the minimum, you franchise tag this guy, preferably extend them, right? So that's what I would do there, Mike. Appreciate that super chat. All right. See what else we got here, guys. Yeah, I do like this. The running back to me is a need. Javante won't hold up. Mini games, year in and out. Do you think they re-sign him and draft a running back, or sign a free agent running back? So I think that I think you make a good point there. Yeah, running back, there is a need there too, and it's just that they're the picks aren't there, right? You don't have the second or third right now, so you would be looking at. Do we even have the fourth? Let me see. What do we give up? You should get some comp picks. So if they look at running back and they don't take one in the first round, they could take one in a later round. I think they have to sign. I think you have to bring back Javante Williams just to protect yourself. You know what I mean? Maybe you bring back Tony Pollard. I think the Titans are probably going to cut Pollard. You know what I mean? Maybe he comes back to the Cowboys and give you that what we thought Jadon Blue was going to be. You know, Jadon Blue has been a huge disappointment, even as a day 3 pick. The speed. He was gonna do this and that, hadn't done crap. Can't get on the field. And the evaluation by Dane Brugler has come to fruition. If you have the Beast and the Athletic subscription, make sure you get the Beast by Dane Brugler. This guy is top notch. He's one of the better. I would bring him on as a damn scout or GM on this damn team. He knows the talent better than Mick Bust. All right, I would hire Dane Brugler to the Cowboys. Knock some sense into this damn team, dude. Because what we have right now, they ain't doing it. They ain't doing it. But yeah, man, running back, it is a need. There's gonna be some good backs in this draft. You know what I mean? But I wonder if the Cowboys have changed their philosophy now, where we're not gonna draft a running back ever again in the first round. And could that be the next drought of droughts? Right now, it's quarterback and safety. Those are the longest droughts in the first round that the Cowboys have not taken in decades. They're right. Is running back going to turn into that? If Jeremiah Love of Notre Dame is sitting there and he's on the board and you're drafting, do they consider him? You know what I mean? We'll see. But there are other backs as well that you could have a little bit later. But I'm with you, man. I'm taking another running back. Drum King, did you get better internet than AT&T? I did, bro. I went to Verizon, man. AT&T, the greedy company of greedy companies. I get this email. We're raising your rates $5. I mean, it's $5, right? But it's like twice a year these piece of crap AT&T wants to raise, and to provide. They want to paint it like, to provide better service. Like, it sucked, bro. Like I was, and they didn't even try to keep me. They didn't try to bribe me with like free HBO or whatever the hell they try to do. I was like, I'm done with these guys. So I went Verizon, bro, and we'll see how that does. But so far, so good, man. Let's see what else we got here, guys. I appreciate you guys jumping on here on this night. We'll try to do this. Barring, I think if I'm available Friday nights, I think that this could be a regular thing where I go live and we'll do a Q&A session. We'll talk about the team. We'll talk about draft picks as we get further along into the season, and we'll go there, bro. But I think that's all we have tonight, guys. I appreciate you jumping on here. If you catch this on the replay, like, subscribe, and share. And I'll see you for the next live stream. Peace out, everybody. Enjoy your weekend.